Okay, I am here with Jay from Jaybird Multisport Coaching. I'm Daphne, the owner, race director for iDaph events, and the founder of iDream Athletes Foundation, our nonprofit as well. And really excited to be here today with you, Jay. Thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure and excited to be here myself.
Awesome. Today's topic is about triathlon and multisport, which we both love. And so just excited to kick off the season and get some new things stirring up in our community.
Absolutely. I've lived in Nashville for about 3 years now, and I just love this community. And I'm so glad that I've gotten this community going and kept it going, even through COVID, which is amazing. I love to contribute any way I can.
Awesome. Over the years, let's see, I started doing triathlons, oh man, 15 plus 17 years ago. So I've been started doing triathlons a long time ago, and it was mainly because I got running injuries. And so that's how it happened.
And that's how so many triathletes get into the sport. And
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I was a running background, doing marathons, and just kept getting injured. And I needed that cross training component. So I started mountain biking and road biking. Next thing is just throw a little swim in there and you got yourself a triathlon. We
Exactly.
have a lot of people that come from that background for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I continue to swim, bike, and run consistently, even though I'm not racing anymore, because I feel like it is such a good balance for people in their life. It's not all running. I don't wake up in the morning going, oh, I got to do another run today. I mix it up. I love the variety.
And I think, especially in this area, because it's so weather changes from season to season. Maybe during the winter, you're not going to go out and bike in 30-degree weather, but you can run or you can get in the pool and swim. I changed to mountain biking and gravel biking and stay off the roads. So there's just a lot that triathlon has to offer for that, because it is a lifestyle. And still love to train for the races and still do them, but ultimately it's just a way of life to be able to do the sports and everything. So I think we're on the same page with that for sure.
Absolutely. So this year we're launching something new. It's called the Tri Local Community. And what I've seen over the years is when I first got into triathlon, there was definitely more of a community, a triathlon community in Western North Carolina, where all levels and abilities would come out, whether you're a complete newbie, whether you are super experienced, and we would train together. We'd go do course previews before races, and that has definitely tapered off over the years. I think a lot of it has to do with the big beast that's out there now called Ironman. It's really pulled a lot of folks out of local triathlon, regional triathlon, because people, number one, only have so much time and energy to train and money. And we've seen that disbursement has happened. And one of my most favorite parts about triathlon was the community aspect. And I've had this idea for multiple years, and then COVID hit, and it was not the right timing to try to introduce that was
something new. Yes, exactly.
Being together with other people that might spread germs. So I had to postpone it for a bit, and I just really felt like this was the right timing to bring something like this to Western North Carolina. And so really just super excited to have it happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I've definitely seen an ebb and a flow. The other areas I've lived before had strong triathlon communities, but even that would ebb and flow just through normal things. But you're right, we get into bigger races and the mindset is, oh, I got to train for that 70.3 or that Ironman, so I can't do these little races. As a coach, I totally disagree. I think these little races, a couple things. One is the tri community, a local community, is uber important. You find training partners. You need to support the local triathlons. And these are great warm-up races. As a coach, I recommend you pick out an A race, a B or C, and you put some B's and C's as practices for transition, for just the anxiety you get, nutrition, all these little things that you have to go through for a triathlon. And these community races that you put on is the perfect place to actually go to. So I'm glad that you're putting this together. I'm excited to be a part of it and in any little way I can. So it's great to know where your background was, why you came up with this. And I agree with it totally.
Yeah. And I think too, there's people now that have figured out training for really long races is very time consuming and people don't want to spend that time and energy. And so I think I have seen, especially last year, people coming back to the sprint distance
Yep.
and saying, hey, I missed triathlon, but I want to be able to have a life on the weekends. And I'm going to do Hendersonville Triathlon and Asheville Triathlon and see if I can improve my time, my energy, my placement, whatever that goal might be for that person. And I've seen that happen. And that was another thing that sparked this in me, where I thought, hey, if we have a series, the Tri Local Duo series, where people can do both races and be part of both of them, there's all kinds of things you can work on.
Oh, exactly. And I love the way Henderson's first, because to me, you've kept the transition at the cars, which is very unique.
Yes.
And, but actually love that. It's great for beginners. It's very relaxing not to have that stress of racking the bike and all this. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Hendersonville is first and then Asheville second. So it's almost like a progression through the year, so that when you get to the second one, okay, now I've already done my first one. Now I can be a little bit more competitive and the bikes are racked. So it just creates a different atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
So they're very two unique races, but I think they feed off of each other really well.
Yeah, I do too. And so, yeah, the Tri-Local Duo is, like I said, it's both Hendersonville Triathlon and Asheville Triathlon. If you sign up for both of them, I believe it's by June 1st, you're automatically enrolled into the Tri-Local community. Whether you use the benefit or not, you're in it. You don't have to pay extra. I feel like by signing up for both, you are making this commitment that you want to do more and maybe possibly have training partners or maybe come to a clinic. And that's where you come in, right? The coach to help lead this community, essentially. I can't do this by myself. A triathlon community cannot happen by itself. It takes a lot of people to not just show up, but also to lead and support.
No, it's definitely a good community needs. And I don't know that I'm a leader of that in that nature per se. It's not necessarily in my nature, but at the same time, I know from experience when I was training for Ironman and I would create a weekend workout and I just, hey, call up a bunch of friends and say, hey, Saturday, I'm doing my long ride. Meet me out at such a road. And I got 3-hour ride. They would come. So if I put it out there, they're going to show up. And that's how I feel like we need to do. You're going to be the brains behind it. I'll be the boots on the ground behind it. But absolutely, I think what we have planned, I think maybe you can go over what all things we have planned for them. But basically what we have planned and me being out there, the ringleader, to organize it in the sense of what's actually going to happen for that particular day. But we've got some pretty exciting clinics, I think, that people are going to hopefully enjoy and get something out of. That's my goal as a coach, is that they get something out of it, whether it be community, getting a new partner, maybe they're nervous about the swim. We're going to have those. We're going to have actually pre-ride the bike courses, both of them, and pre-run them.
Yep.
You're going to come in, if you join both races and you come out to the community and you come out to some of these clinics, I really feel like we're going to give you so much confidence going into these races that you're just going to crush your goals.
Confidence and fun. The thing is, like, just having fun and being part of a collaborative group, it is fun. I think we'll start with the Hendersonville Triathlon because that's first. And so I know in May, we'll start with a swim clinic. We'll do a run clinic. The swim clinic, I think, is the 1st of June because Patton doesn't open till then. But we'll start with the run clinic, a course preview of the run, a transition clinic.
Yep.
And then we'll piggyback off of that. And after the Hendersonville Tri, we'll do the same thing for Asheville Tri.
Yep. Yeah, we basically have a swim, bike, and run for clinic before each race. And that just gives you the preview. I would like to do a little bit of a clinic beforehand. So for instance, for running, maybe some basic warm-ups and run form discussion before we actually go and run. So it's going to be informative, not just show up and run. Same thing with the bike. I really want to go over like some basic bike safety, pre-race inspection, things you can check on the bike, like to make sure your brakes are straight and not dragging, and what gear to put your bike in before the race, and those types of things. And then the thing that, believe it or not, I'm actually most excited about is the
What?
transition practices.
Is it? Yeah, most
I don't know
people
why.
ask about that all the time.
I'm a very like, I'm going to be organized and fast. Like I'm very competitive. So for me, transition was always those things I think I was working on. And it's not for everybody, and I get that, but it's free speed, right?
Yeah.
So we're actually going to set up bike racks. We're actually going to let people rack their bikes and practice unhooking it and where to put your stuff on the ground and just
and what you even need to bring, right?
We'll go over all that. Exactly.
I've seen people with everything but the kitchen sink in transition, and you really don't need all that. So I think if you're listening and you haven't done a triathlon before, just FYI, your time on the clock does not stop when you get in transition. It continues to run. If you have a time goal or if you're actually racing and competitive, transition counts. So it's like
transition
the
counts
of the transition of the triathlon.
Yeah. But that's going to be fun. I think we're going to do, I have some like competition / game ideas for that to put a little pressure on you. So you get a little nervous because that's where people make mistakes. And we want everybody to be safe. The big thing is safety. And I think by practicing this, and especially in a group environment like that, you'll practice with that nervousness, and come race day, you'll have a much better experience because you'll be more relaxed and you actually enjoy it. The whole thing is have fun, thank the volunteers, cheer on your fellow competitors. I mean, that's what this sport is about. It's so interesting to me because triathlon is an individual sport in the sense that it's you against you. You're doing the training, come race day, you've got to put it all together. There's no help, there's no drafting, there's no all these other things that so many other sports have. Is a team sport. This is an individual, but it's not. It's a community, and there's people in transition that if you got a flat tire, hey, here's a pump. No, they're going to help you. They're going to answer any questions you have. And come race day, they're cheering you on, and that's the community aspect of it. And I think that the tri-local community that you're going to create is just going to foster that, and that's the most important thing to me, is fostering that in this area and getting more people excited about it. Yeah,
the camaraderie is huge, and it doesn't matter if you've been doing triathlons as long as we have been, or if you're new, everybody will find some benefit of being part of the community. So it really is for everyone, every ability. You just start wherever you're at, and clinic you're in will accommodate whatever level you're at. Yeah, I'm really excited to get it going. I think we already have a good number that are in the community, and they can take an advantage of whichever one of the clinics they want to do. We also have on Facebook a Tri Local Community Facebook group, Facebook page. Check that out, look that up, and look for that on the blog too, on our website.
And I'll definitely peek in there. Yeah, I'll peek in. I'll be on Facebook occasionally on that group. So if somebody has any specific questions, they can pop it on there, and I'll try to get in there and answer anything as well. And then of course the clinics, and that's what we're there for. But yeah, Facebook's a good way in between clinics, or if you have some other random questions, definitely throw them out there, and either the community will answer or I'll answer. We'll definitely be in there to help you out.
And we have gotten this as a club, USA Triathlon Club. It's registered, it's insured. So that's also something that was important to both you and I, that as we are doing this training together and stuff, that it's a legit organized club. And so with that, people can also on the Facebook page, once you start meeting people and connecting, you can post there, hey, I'm going to go swim tomorrow, or I'm going to go run this week, and feel free to put that out there for other people to join you. That's what this is going to be all about. No, that's definitely one of the things I always see is people looking for workout partners. And it's tough sometimes. When you get into backing up, the thing I like about the sprints is because they are a little bit shorter, it's a little easier to find workout partners and stuff. When I was training for Ironman, I had to go out for a 6-hour bike ride. No one went with me for 6 hours. I was lucky to have a few friends that rode the first half with me. So after 3 hours, I came back to the cars, dropped them off, and had to turn around and go back out for another 3. You don't have that problem. You have people that you can throw in an hour bike ride here or a 30-minute run, and there's definitely going to be workout partners available for that type of thing, and encouragement that hold you accountable. So and you'll meet people who might be a stronger swimmer than you or a stronger runner, and those are the ones that you pair up with and go, hey, I'll help you on your run if you help me on my swim. And when I was racing, I love sprints because I felt like the time for each element was just enough to keep me engaged and focused where my mind didn't drift off. So the longer races, I would be planning what I was going to have for dinner the following week. But for a sprint, it's very intentional, your time and your focus and your energy. And the swim, you get in there and you do it and it's done.
It's done.
Wait, I'm already done with the swim, but it's great because you get to go through each of them.
Yeah. I've actually come back to the distance. And not all triathletes do this, but I think the majority of them, you start the sprint and you go Olympic, then you go to 70.3, and then you end up doing an Ironman. I do the challenge of the 70.3 because it's not quite the workload as training for an Ironman. But honestly, between moving and a knee injury and a couple of things I've gone through, I've actually re-embraced the sprint distance. And I plan on racing both of these races this year. And I'm excited to come back. And so I'll be on course cheering you on, but I'll also be there and to help anybody out if they have any questions. But yeah, I like this distance. I like these local races. And I think I was inspired. My first was one of those local races like this one, where there was such a wide range of athletes. So I didn't feel intimidated in the sense that I was a beginner and there was a ton of beginners, but there was also some really local elite triathletes who I got to see them just crush me. At the same time, I'm like, that is so cool. How did they go so fast? But it gave me that incentive to learn more about the sport and to get faster and do these things. So I just love these smaller races like this that are community based, because it is inviting for the beginner, but also challenging for maybe someone who's been in it for a while.
And if you go all out sprint, if you're fit and
that's my plan.
All out, I mean, you're gonna fall over at the end. It's by exerting all the effort you have, even if you are super fit and going as fast and as hard as you can for a sprint triathlon,
it hurts. A couple of years ago, I had the perfect comparison because I did a 70.3 and 2 weeks later I had a sprint. But they were hurt in different ways because one was endurance based, 5 hours of just trying to pace yourself the entire 5 hours. And then the sprint, which was like an hour and 10 minutes for me, I was all out redlining the entire time. Totally different, but totally both very rewarding in the way you approach them. So yeah, I definitely embrace. So for all you triathletes out there that are all Ironmanists looking for the long distance, I challenge you to come back and do a sprint.
I do too.
I think it's great training and great practice. So come back, join us for these races. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah. One of the other things that I really like about the sprint here in Western North Carolina is you really could use any bike. You don't have to have a triathlon bike. In fact, I got rid of my tri bike and just used my road bike for a lot of the sprint triathlons, and you don't have as much of an advantage if you have a tri bike. Sometimes it's a disadvantage, frankly.
I'm actually thinking about riding my road. I'm fortunate enough, I do have a road bike and a tri bike, and I probably going to ride my road bike for Hendersonville, knowing the courses. It's a little more curvy up and down, where I think maybe Asheville might lend itself a little bit because there's some longer downhills. But honest, like you said, I think both, it's a toss up. You really couldn't, I don't think there's a huge advantage for sure at all. No. In fact, my road bike climbs way faster than my tri bike climb. I might ride the road for both of them.
Yeah, and that's something people can check out at the course preview too.
Absolutely.
And I have friends who've used their mountain bikes and their gravel bikes and their cyclocross bikes and their hybrid bike. I've seen it all at the races, and I feel bikes can be so expensive right now and super intimidating. And I don't think that people should let that equipment deter them from a triathlon, especially a sprint here in North Carolina.
No, I agree 100%. People approach me as a coach and say, do I need to get a new bike? And I'm like, no, you borrow your neighbors if you need to. For this race, if you're brand new and I want to see what this triathlon thing's all about, you can use a spin bike at the gym for most of your training. I would recommend some rides outside because you want to get used to your bike handling skills and so forth. But there's nothing wrong with building your fitness up on a spin bike or a spin class. And then at least get out on the weekends or something and borrow your neighbor's bike or borrow whoever's bike you need to borrow. Come out and do the race. And then which I know you're going to be hooked. You can check out some of your local bike shops or wherever else and buy a used bike and go that route, or new, whatever you want to do. But don't let that deter you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get out here, give it a try, literally give it a try. And we've got the community to support you. And this is a great opportunity this year. If you've been on the fence about doing a triathlon, this is the year to jump in and give it a go.
Yeah. And then I think sometimes people need a little extra nudge. They need extra accountability, whereas just an open group like, hey, show up and come to this thing just isn't enough. They need somebody else tapping them. And I think that's where you come into play and do your job really well as a triathlon coach, because you can help be that accountability person. You can answer all those millions of questions that people have that are doing their first or trying to get better. And for these races, do you have special packages that you're offering, or are you just talking to people individually?
Yeah, obviously I've got a training plan I can put out that's like kind of a canned basic program if somebody doesn't know where to start. Yeah. And I can do that. But also with the clinics that we're going to be putting on, obviously those are great opportunities for just answering questions and so forth. I would put together something if somebody doesn't want to actually one-on-one coaching or something like that. I'm available for that. Just reach out to me and find out. But yeah, we'll accommodate. But definitely the clinics are going to be the best thing, because those are going to be while you're there, while we're riding, while we're running. Just pick my brain. That's what I'm there for those, and that's free. You sign up for both races and you get a USA Triathlon certified coach to run with you and just pick my brain. That's what I'm going to be here for. I love beginners. I love the age groupers trying to get faster. That's where I get my passion from, because that was me always struggling, trying to learn everything I could learn. And there was so many things to learn in order to be competitive. So now as a coach and as a seasoned triathlete, I want to give that back. So those are the people I really want to talk to and inspire. It's a great sport, and I just want to give back to it. It's done so much for me.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. I feel the same. I think we both are just passionate about our community, about these sports. And with that, I think we've talked about everything we wanted to say, but just excited about launching this tri-local community and the 2 races. And we hope that we see a bunch of people in Hendersonville and Asheville, Black Mountain, come out, join us.
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. And always appreciate you putting these races on and keeping the tri light burning, because there aren't that many races in this area. And so we appreciate you to continue to do this. So absolutely excited to what's coming.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Jay. And I'll see you soon.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.